You call them baby steps, is that right?
Yeah, we set baby step goals, because we don't want to break. If you break a promise that you make, I'm sure you've had that experience with your weight loss. You set goals that you could keep, and if you happen to not meet that goal, it feels terrible,
Right.
Yeah.
And I built in some safety. I mean, I planned on not staying on Weight Watchers for Easter Sunday. I was invited over to my sister's.
Sure.
You cannot be rude and not eat what she fixes. I planned on not staying on program for Mother's Day. And as long then you didn't feel like, oh, I failed. I planned. It was a planned little one-day break. And as long as you get back to it the next day, bottom line, I like it. I felt like I still lived my life. I still lived my life.
That's kind of important.
But every time there was a church activity and they had refreshments, then that I would have the fruit instead, because that was too frequent. But a once in a while thing, I believe my birthday came in during that time too, and I took a break on my birthday to go out to dinner, have cake, whatever. And as long as you get back on track, this is what we're saying, moderation in all things. It doesn't mean you're never ever going to have refined sugar, never ever going to have a piece of cake, but I think that it's become the everyday occurrence instead of the special occurrence in our world today.
That's true. Yeah. There are some of us like me that really
tell us about what happens to you. See, I mustn't encourage her to have, we're at a function and we have a fantastic cake right there that's just luscious. I mustn't say, hey, here, have a bite. Go ahead and do it.
And she won't.
Because I'm Satan then.
Tell
us what happens when you do that.
The problem for me, and I'm probably not alone, and I'm sure there's people that don't see this in themselves or recognize it. But for years and years, I had, I've mentioned that I had overcome depression. Mm-hmm. Well, after the depression, I still felt there was something I was battling. And I wasn't sure what it was, but every day I'd get up and battle this negativity and these feelings of dread and fear and grouchy and irritable and and I would reverse the thoughts, go through all this work every day of overcoming this, and I was irritable, and I would strive every day to be not irritable, especially to my husband, and it was a daily battle, which I usually lost. And then I read this book called The Sugar Addict's Total Recovery Program, and they talked about similar things, and I thought, the thing that put me over the edge, because going off sugar, refined sugar, is not a minor thing. It plays such a big role in so many of our lives constantly.
It does, yeah.
And what put me over the edge to begin to try it was someone who in the book gave a testimonial that said, I finally was able to become the person I was meant to be. And that just set off alarms in my head, because I knew that I was supposed to be different. I knew that there was someone else I was supposed to be. And so I thought, I'm going to try this. And I did, and within 3 weeks, if that long, there was just a major change.
Mm-hmm. I saw it.
Oh my gosh, I was no longer irritable, and things would happen, and I'd sit there and see myself and say, normally when something like that would happen, I would feel or say blah, 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 you know, and the words just didn't come out of my mouth, and I'm going, oh my goodness, this is so wonderful, I'm so grateful, and besides that, I started sleeping better. Mm-hmm. I had insomnia for 20 years, and sleep is precious, and being able to sleep was just, oh my word. And so, but then I found I'd go for, 6 months and not eat any sugar, and I think, I can eat some sugar. I mean, my word, why not, And I'd eat a piece of Halloween candy, bite-sized piece of, the next day, it would all be back,
See your old self.
Mm-hmm. The irritability, the dread, the insomnia, the everything. And so I know now. I mean, it's like, how many times do I have to learn this lesson?
Right.
I
can't.
Of course, we go to the health food store and get a little bar of chocolate, which has the right kind of sugar in it.
Unrefined sugar.
Oh,
and
boy.
we don't do that too often.
No,
and,
we are chocoholics, that has to be admitted.
I do make a wonderful chocolate cake
lava
with
cake, chocolate
lava cake, and a chocolate
boy.
cake that has chocolate mousse icing. I can make brownies.
All with unrefined sugar?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes, with the olive.
Oh yeah.
So you feel you can still live your life
Yeah.
and be
Oh,
pretty
yes.
much normal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't want to overdo it because even though I don't get grouchy and it doesn't affect my brain chemistry, it may affect my sleep patterns if I have too much of any kind of sweetener.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just been a revelation to me, and I don't think I'm the only one in the world that has these kinds of problems with refined sugar and white flour.
But you think some people are more susceptible to it than others, probably?
Some people are more sugar sensitive than others.
Right, sure.
But I have friends, for instance, that have been familiar with our lifestyle. We also have green smoothies. We actually end up with purple smoothies because we put in quite like a cup full of mixed berries with our smoothie.
You've probably heard about the Green Smoothie Girl because she's right here in Linden. She has her website called greensmoothiegirl.com, and that's where we started on it. But hers are green, ours a little bit more purple because we put berries in with it too to make it really luscious.
But that has made a huge difference. And so,
what makes hers green? I haven't heard of that.
Spinach.
Oh.
Yeah, just
We put in spinach and kale and banana and berries, and that's
sometimes apple.
And sometimes we'll put in quinoa. Have you ever heard of quinoa?
Mm-mm.
That's an interesting.
It's a
grain.
it's a seed,
It's
and
seed. It's called seed. Yes.
It's actually got more protein than soy, and it's non-GMO. It hasn't been genetically modified, and it's fairly new on the scene, so it hasn't been messed with
Right.
Yeah.
a whole lot, and it's organic. And we sprout it by soaking it in water, and then dehydrate it, and then.
And when we talk about sprouting it, that's just overnight. Like if you sprout
Actually,
wheat.
it only
and-
takes 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah.
if you take wheat and sprout it for a long time, a bunch of green things pop up,
you
like
can-
grass.
yeah.
But in this case, we just sprout it. Just all of a sudden, it changes its enzymes or something like
Yeah,
that. So
it
becomes
releases
better
its
for you,
enzymes. It
more
creates
energy.
like 500 times more nutrition. And then we take it and dehydrate it and make powder out of it, and it makes a very nice organic protein powder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my wife's constantly making homemade things like this rather than buy the stuff. There's
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff out there you can buy.
So,
Just-
but-
she enjoys doing this.
At any rate, people that are aware of these changes that we've made and how it's made such a difference have started doing green smoothies, have dropped the refined sugars and flours, and within 3 days have quit having joint pains.
Right.
They're just feeling so much better and have weight loss. I lost 10 pounds. I'd still like to lose a few more. So I'll have to.
My question is, though, does everyone know you're doing this? And what do you do in a case where someone invites you over for dinner? Or can you go to a restaurant and and order off the menu? Is this something you can, be a normal person, live your life normally and do this?
Well, I pick and choose. If everyone usually serves a salad and vegetables, and I just politely tell them, I'm sorry, I don't eat sugar, and they probably think I'm diabetic, which I don't care.
Yeah.
But,
You're
I'm
not.
Yeah, I'm not diabetic, but that's just fine.
But
I
it
just
would be
don't-
no different than a diabetic refusing it, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, and I cannot do it because the consequences are far too
Isn't
high.
worth the,
Yeah. So,
Now,
Yeah.
let's talk about. I'm always getting on this, the soda pop sugar, the sugar and everything. What is it that the sugar does to the body? Why are people so sick? Any ideas? Any thoughts on that?
well, there's several different things that there is some doctors that have put forth. I don't think we have the article with us. The thought that it isn't fat that causes cholesterol to stick to your arteries; that it's actually sugar. And the reason they say it does that is because it grates on your arteries and causes striations, which causes the cholesterol to stick to the arteries. And that's, there's, it sounds so fanatical, I know, because we're not used to hearing these things and talking about these things because it's been shoved down our throats so long that, fat is so bad for us and that sugar is fine and things like that. So when someone says, oh, no, it's not, it's like, are you nuts? But sugar has more, we know that sugar affects the insulin process in our body. And anytime you see someone where their stomach goes through the doorway before the rest of them, it's because of their sugar intake. Because the insulin, when we have an overabundance of sugar, it stimulates the pancreas, which triggers an insulin reaction, which puts out too much insulin, which then causes a low sugar reaction. But insulin acts as it packs fat right at your waistline.
All right. Well, I see that up on the screen here. A listener called in and says that sprouting releases enzyme inhibitors. All right. So
okay.
What are we saying there?
Well, maybe the listener could enlighten us a little more.
I would like to hear further on what you're saying about that. We're always open for more information. I wish we could have a direct line coming to us so we could talk on the line. One day that'll happen. But right now, if you call in and give any information, they'll put it on the screen.
We would love
so
to learn more
about
that.
Yes,
that would be
like
great.
But what I was aiming at when we talk about sugar is another part of the bad part about sugar, and that is it causes acid. See, if we have an alkaline environment in our body, cancer can't grow. And you've heard of people who say there's natural ways of getting rid of cancer. The fact of the matter is, it's a very basic thing. If the system is acid, cancer feeds on acid, and sugar is acid. White flour creates sugar. If we get off the sugar and get more alkaline in our body, it cannot live. I think I have something here I want to read. The human body needs to be slightly alkaline, about 7.4 on the pH scale. Unfortunately, you are bombarded with acids every day. Those come from dairy and animal proteins, junk foods with chemicals, sugar and white flour, and possibly, worst of all, soft drinks. Coffee and tea, electromagnetic frequencies in your environment, pharmaceuticals, even stress lead to an acidic inner terrain. So trying to keep us alkaline inside, of course, there's many fruits and vegetables that does give an alkaline environment where we don't have the sugar that's killing us from the inside out. I jokingly say, I've said this many, many times, that our enemies don't have to worry about killing us. We're killing ourselves. We're doing it for ourselves.
From the inside out.
Yeah, from the inside out. So much bad stuff. So, I'm always getting on the soapbox about sugar and thinking we need to rethink how we want to eat and live so that we can live longer. And we're enjoying a wonderful life right now. I'm coming on 74 and feeling healthier than I have for years and years and years. One time I was bedridden for 6 months with arthritis and taking all the real bad chemicals, what do you call them, pills, all that stuff. But we were able to get off that. Anyway, we want to give a little time for a break right now, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Are you an athlete looking for a natural boost to your workout? Have you studied up on the benefits of nitric oxide production to your performance? Then you'll want to try Kyani's Nitro Extreme. Nitro Extreme promotes cardiovascular health and improved blood flow, supports muscle contraction and relaxation, as well as nerve transmission. I use Nitro Extreme right before I lift weights, and I've never been stronger in my entire life. If you don't try Nitro Extreme, you'll never know what you're missing. Call 801-362-9552 to order yours today. That's 801-362-9552. Are you looking to create another revenue stream in 2012? Are you willing to put out the effort, generate some cash flow? Pat Sheranian is seeking 10 motivated individuals to join her Kyani team as independent distributors. Earn as much as you are willing to work for selling Kyani Sunrise, Sunset, Nitro FX, and Nitro Extreme. These great products are helping thousands of people enjoy better health and an improved financial situation. The most successful Kyani independent distributors started by trying the Kyani products, just as you can, virtually risk-free, as Kyani offers a 30-day money-back satisfaction guarantee. Try them and don't like them, and you'll get your money back, less the shipping costs. So many people today are challenged by obesity and diabetes, or don't have enough money for their needs, and they aren't doing anything about it. Don't be one of them. Call Pat Sheranian at 801-362-9552 to find out more about Kyani and what it can do for your health and for your wealth. That's 801-362-9552.
Well, we're back, and we were just talking to Pat. This is the Pat Straining Show on UtahLive.com or
Utah Valley Live.
Utah Valley Live, yes, that's what it is. But we were just talking about Kyani because she is one who does put forth that product, and it's a very, very good one. Also, it neutralizes the sugar going into the system and helps with the antioxidants. Because again, a lot of people use the word antioxidants nowadays everywhere in our society. They're using that word, trying to squeeze it in to get people to drink more or eat more because we have antioxidants.
For those of us who aren't as strong as Sidne and staying away from it, at least when we do, maybe there's something that could chase it afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I really believe in supplements, as like Kyani. I think this just so worthwhile. Kyani has, what'd you say, 37,000 oryx of antioxidant in it. I mean, nowadays the soils are so depleted, we're just not getting those necessary nutrients anymore. And this is a great way to supplement our diet. You know, it's to have we need our health so that we can fulfill our missions here and our purpose. You know, if you lose your health, you've lost everything.
That's right.
It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
It's worthwhile spending the money. I mean, we budget. Well, we put on our budget, what was it, $500?
No.
I guess it was $300 we put on our budget to buy supplements, the health food store stuff. That's not our groceries. This is other than our groceries to keep us healthy and look at these various things. And yes, we need to get Kyani as well. We have not taken upon ourselves that yet, but we're going to pretty soon. Yes,
very soon.
Getting to the point where we've changed around our whole budget to get where we need to be so we can live forever. If that's a good thing.
Live forever?
Only if everyone we love is living forever also.
Yes. We have one great-grandchild, and we'd like to see many more.
Yeah.
Yes,
we actually have 4 grandsons in the mission field right now. And so we're anxious for them to watch them return and build their families.
We don't want to be gone when they get back. So.
Right, for sure.
Got to be here. As a matter of fact, I have to admit something else, since we're trying to throw everything out here. I've had recently heartburn issues. Well, we don't know for sure whether it's heartburn yet or not. I do go to a doctor. The name of his place is called Keys to Healing Medical Center, Dr. Stan Gardner. He's in Riverton. And I haven't been to him for about a year now, but we did converse a little bit on this subject. And as a matter of fact, he told me how in some cases when you're older people tend to have only 20% of the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Enzymes?
The enzymes to, acid in your stomach. See, a lot of people, by the way, they take a lot of these, what's it called?
Antacids?
Antacids, Prilosec. I was taking Prilosec for 2 or 3 years straight, every day. I said you're only supposed to take it for 14 days, and you're supposed to have doctors' approval for going along in that. Well, I was taking it constantly. You know what that did to me? That caused the stomach acid not to digest food correctly. Therefore, I was getting lighter and anemic and all that. Once I got away from all that bad stuff, that kind of chemical that was causing me not to get the nutrients in my body, then of course I started doing better. So I haven't been doing anything other than Tums once in a while. But even that is not so good for you. And you can also talk about, aluminum. You've heard about how aluminum possibly is a cause of dementia in older people. So I want to stay away from that too, because that is in so many antacids nowadays. So, there's a new book out called Alternatives to Prilosec. It says Alternatives to Nexium, Prilosec, so on and so forth. Interesting book. Just got started into it. But interestingly, it talks about what you put in your stomach, and again, it mentions the same old thing. It talks about white sugar and white flour. Refined sugar, refined flour. Yeah. Right in there is one of the things that causes your stomach distress. So again, we just keep on finding out that what we're trying to do is what we need to do, and we got to do it better. That's all. Right. So what else do we want to say? We have about 6 minutes left.
Kim, would you like to tell us some more about about your family or yourself or your impressions of Utah?
Yeah,
as a new. Tell us about you're in Utah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was started on my Facebook page. I started a photo album called "You Know When You Know You're in Utah When."
Yes.
And my entries so far, a few more I need to post, but I posted the first one the first night I was here. My daughter and I, after driving from Chicago, 24 hours approximately, was the drive. We went to a restaurant here in Provo, and the claw machine, that game that kids play where they put a quarter in and try to get a toy out of the claw machine box. One of the toy options to grab was a stuffed missionary, complete with a missionary name tag by the name of John Smith,
Only
actually.
in Utah Valley.
And so we took a picture of that and I posted it on Facebook, and that was my my first photo that I entered into my new album called "You Know You're in Utah When." Yeah. There's a stuffed missionary in the claw machine game at the restaurant. Other possible entries that I'm considering are I was somewhere around Murray, I believe, and I saw a billboard for a play showing at a playhouse somewhere in Salt Lake, and it was the play was called "The Addams Family Home Evening," and so I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was so hilarious. And then, of course, everyone's seen the video screen at Riverwoods, which I go by quite often, and I'm tickled when I see the surfing place is advertising, and they say "called to surf." Called to surf, which my non-member friends back home wouldn't get the joke, but what that means. But it just tickled me, and I just love saying, you know you're in Utah when you see these things. So things that are particular and peculiar, as we know, to our culture that we have here, and I'm loving it.
I have to add one right there too. It's just kind of strange, but when we first got here, I saw these trucks running around. It says Steak Center Locating. There's so many steak centers around here. They have to have a truck to find where they are. Because what it really is they put those little flags in your lawn. You're going to dig up, so the truck comes and put those little flags in your lawn. But still, I thought it was funny. Steak Center Locator.
And that's hilarious. Yeah.
Well, we're just having a lot of fun. We are coming to the close here now. What else do we want to sum up? As we talked about sugar, we've talked about eating right. We've talked about agave. We've talked about the dangers of pop. What else?
I just wanted to say further with the Utah thing.
Yes.
The mountains. I asked my daughter, who's starting her junior year at BYU here, and I said, "Do you ever get used to the mountains?" And she said, "No, never." She said she can't. She still doesn't get used to them or take them for granted, and they're just so beautiful. I just can't stop looking at them.
Oh, that's so true.
We're from Southern California ourselves, right near Disneyland, as a matter of fact, right up the street from Disneyland. And that's a rat race down there. It's so wonderful being here. We feel safer here, just being in Utah Valley, and feel safer with the tall mountains guarding us above. And
like they're standing guard. Or
it just feels so good. We just feel so comfortable here. And the weather isn't that bad. Before we came here, we did live in Flagstaff for 10 years, and there it got really cold. But here, it's never gotten bad at all. Yeah. So we're thankful to be here. We're thankful to be amongst such wonderful people, and we're thankful that Kim came here.
Oh, that's so nice.
We worked with her son at BYU, and so when we heard that she was coming here, we're just excited because
it's good to be
love
here.
her son. So
I do too.
Yes, it's great getting to know people. People love to get to know people, and we love meeting you. I wish we could talk to you. One day maybe we will be able to do that. But again, we want to wish you all a good day. My wife and I have always used this thing when we've signed off any time in the past that says that we want to see you enjoy your life and that we are cheering for you. That's the comment that she uses all the time in all of her literature. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.